And we're just like for like 4 hours straight.
Human remains found by a hunter in the Talladega National Park.
Day 3 after.
26 entries, 7 levels. This is an iceberg of the creepiest and darkest things you can find on TikTok. We'll start with the strange and slowly work our way to some of the most horrifying and disturbing content on the platform. Let's begin at the tip of the iceberg. Level 1. Pink sauce.
And move over ketchup and mustard. There's a new condiment craze this summer. It is pink, and social media is filled with people putting it on just about everything. But Stephen Fabian reports there's just one little problem. No one's quite sure what's in it.
Created by Veronica Shaw, aka Chef Pie online, pink sauce is what the name suggests, a bright pink-colored sauce. It is also one of the most infamous things to come out of TikTok, although you may not remember it as its heyday was in 2022 to 2023. It first appeared on June 11, 2022. Veronica uploaded a video of herself using pink sauce on her TikTok and began fulfilling orders for her creation. The product was an instant hit, with hashtag pink sauce gaining over 80 million views in a short period of time. Pink sauce and its creator began to show cracks immediately. The first problem people noticed was the terrible packaging it arrived in, with bottles being crushed, bloated, or leaking. Labels were poorly made with many typos and misprints. Worst of all, the sauce itself was nothing special. Another concern raised by people was the health risks of consuming pink sauce. Having milk as an ingredient was risky, as pink sauce could be infected with botulism due to its terrible packaging. Some consumers claim to have been hospitalized and even died after eating it. However, the accuracy of some of these claims is questionable. Chef Pie displayed a concerning lack of knowledge when questioned on a live stream if her product was FDA approved. She responded that she wasn't making medicine, which fueled the growing concerns over the pink sauce's quality and effects on human health.
What do you mean FDA approved? I don't sell medical products.
Despite all that, Veronica managed to cut a deal with Dave's Gourmet, a prominent brand in the food business. They would take over production and handle distribution for her, but it was too little too late. Veronica claims she never got properly compensated by Dave's Gourmet and made a bad deal with them, which led to a falling out between the two. Nowadays, even if you find it, you'll see pink sauce collecting layers of dust in a forgotten corner of your local Walmart or Dollar Tree. Devious licks. Long since banned by TikTok, devious licks is one of the platform's more insidious trends. Teens are encouraged to steal or damage school property for internet clout. The trend is believed to have originated on September 1st, 2021, after TikTok user Jug4Elias posted a video showing a box of disposable masks they claimed to have stolen from a school. The video garnered more than 345,800 views before TikTok removed it. Jug4Elias didn't just come up with it themselves. The trend has roots in the term lick. Urban Dictionary defines a lick as a successful type of theft that results in an acceptable, impressive, and rewarding payday for the thief. School officials and parents in the U.S., where the trend was popular, were concerned. Widespread media coverage also did not stop schools from becoming victims of their students. Places like Lawrence High School in Northeast Kansas closed several bathrooms after students pried soap dispensers off the walls. Then, students tried to steal the closed signs, so staff guarded the bathrooms. Northeast of Sacramento, California, the Rockland School District has seen students destroy soap dispensers, damage faucets, plug toilets with whole rolls of toilet paper, tear mirrors and railings off walls, and share videos and photos on social media. Police in Central Florida and the city of Bartow said they arrested a 15-year-old student who vandalized a new building's bathroom by tearing off soap dispensers and leaving one in a sink. He said he did it because of this TikTok challenge and wanted to be cool. Nowadays, the trend is categorically dead, and TikTok did whatever it could to help and stop it, blocking the hashtag and excluding videos containing it from the platform. Level 2. TikTok will get you blind. These trends from 2019 and 2022 were spectacularly stupid ideas that had young people almost go blind. The first one we'll look at is the Bright Eye Challenge. The mastermind behind the Bright Eye Challenge is TikToker Greg Lammers. Lammers said that doing this will change the color of a single eye, though that is not true. What happens instead of magically changing your eye color, pressing a bag of aggressive chemicals against your face can cause eye and skin irritation or even get you blind. Many more than a few people tried the challenge themselves. While, as far as we know, nobody has lost their vision, users did get eye and skin irritation from attempting it. The following year, TikTok was blessed with another trend seemingly started by user Maliabru, where you use the S5 filter to reveal your true eye color. It doesn't work. All it does is hurt your retinas because you expose yourself to a camera flash next to your eyeball. As expected, the trend led to eye-related injuries to people who jumped on the bandwagon. You can even see multiple TikToks of people doing that and complaining right after. TikTok is a platform where challenges like these tend to spread quickly. Some influencers have been smart enough to use contact lenses to change their eye color and cheat these challenges. Unfortunately, those TikTokers who knew it was a bad idea had no qualms about lying to their audience. Thankfully, TikTok has since banned these challenges. John Romano. John Romano might be the most complicated figure on TikTok. He went from school shooter to mental health awareness influencer over the course of his life. If you go on his TikTok page, you'll see a bright young man hoping to make a difference in the world. That is because he has seen the error of his ways after trying to shoot up the school he used to study at. You can find John's story from his perspective quite easily. Some people accuse him of, while being open about it, telling the truth when it's convenient.
This is me, at 16 years old, about to be sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Besides that, what makes him a controversial figure is the fact that some people think he might not have changed, and that all of this is some sort of elaborate scheme to turn himself into a victim. The events were as follows. On February 9, 2004, John Romano, a student at Columbia High School, walked into school with a 12-gauge pump-action shotgun. He passed by the main office and ascended the stairs to reach a bathroom on the second floor. He sent messages to his friends while in a bathroom stall warning them to leave. Romano then washed his hands and stepped into a hallway with a shotgun. He fired 2 shots before Assistant Principal John Sawchuk tackled Romano. As Romano and Sawchuk struggled, a 3rd shot was fired and hit the leg of Michael Bennett, a special education teacher at the school. Romano was disarmed, subdued, and subsequently arrested. Romano was charged with attempted murder and reckless endangerment. He would face up to 50 years in prison for both charges, but plead guilty in exchange for a 20-year sentence. In prison, Romano would write letters advocating against gun violence and trying to sympathize with the victims of other shootings. John was released in December 2020 after serving 15 years of his 20-year sentence. Romano created his TikTok page 2 years after his release, which leads us to today. Sierra Green, aka iSierra, was a TikToker who in 2021 got her 15 minutes of fame when she showed herself as an easy target for harassment, and because she would harass other people too. Sierra's account is devoted to her 2 main interests, furry content and puppets. She would become infamous after calling out a viewer who made ears just like the ones she used in her videos, saying that people should buy her 2 colored pieces of cardboard glued to a tiara from her.
When I say my ears aren't for sale, I didn't mean just go and make your own ears. Guys, you're stealing my design. Stop it.
That attracted TikTok users to her page who took a closer look at her content. Sierra also posted videos where she demonstrated her puppetry and arts and crafts skills and her appreciation for her art by pretending to make out with it. Yes, Sierra would make puppets and enact her romantic fantasies with them. That was until she met Greg, another puppet made by a fellow TikTok user. It was love at first sight, and soon she began making duets with Greg and even defended her unilateral relationship with him. Unfortunately, Greg's creator was a 21-year-old man with learning disabilities who received so much harassment that his sister had to step in.
This is gonna get pretty graphic because I am so sick and tired of it. I just came home from running a few errands and my brother comes down the steps. I'm shaking right now. And he's like, do you remember the photo I posted on Facebook that I made of the Count from Sesame Street? Now, mind you, we're twins, we're 22, but his brain, just to get people to understand if you're his brain is still at a 5-year-old level. So he still watches Sesame Street, he still watches Barney, he still watches kiddie shows. It's okay, it's okay. So he comes down and shows me a picture and he told me he's getting 309 comments to be exact, all on the picture. I don't know who the these people are, but if you're gonna hate on someone, hate on me. Hate on me. Call me every name in the book. Threaten me.
Sierra and Greg's love was not to last, but she would quickly move on. Sierra had this habit of calling the people she would obsess over her brothers and inflicted her affections on Z-Warrior 0982. Z-Warrior rejected her because of Sierra's homophobic behavior and him being bisexual. Sierra would take this in stride and have another one of her brothers engage in witchcraft rituals over TikTok to summon Z-Warrior 0982. Her next victim would be a user named Sammy who tried to befriend her but was harassed non-stop for 2 years until he finally snapped at Sierra. Sierra reacted to it like always by making a few breakup videos and moving on. Nowadays, she is still on TikTok, but largely forgotten by the world. Anaconda Sin. Anna Jane Clausen is a mess. She's been all over the internet and has become infamous for being just plain weird. You may have seen a video of her appearance on a Minecon, which PewDiePie reacted to, but there is so much more to her. As we'll see, her story is comparable to Chris Chan's in many ways. We don't know much about her early life, and Anna is a highly unreliable narrator. What is relevant to know about her is that, according to herself, she is a 30-year-old autistic woman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Anna has an intellectual disability and autism. She has a measured IQ of 70, she is blind in her left eye and legally blind in her right eye, and can't read or navigate the internet without TTS assistance. On her TikTok, which has since been deleted, you'll see she has no set pattern of content and randomly posts about whatever she feels like, from explaining what happened to her childhood Minecraft server to giving life advice.
You better do all your fun, crazy stuff in your 20s. Do it now, because you might not ever get the opportunity again.
On other parts of the internet, like YouTube and Twitter, she shares more details about her life, like having a daughter, Abby, which she gave up for adoption.
I did what was best in the end. It was my choice. I wanted to give her up for adoption, and I did not want to raise that child. I do not want to raise that child. I do not ever want to.
She is also a porn/sex addict and has gone through numerous relationships over the years. She shared even more colorful opinions on Reddit about love and life. But her most recent controversy results from Anna discussing on TikTok Live how she enjoyed watching animals get killed and getting off to it. Her deer comment is related to trying to kill the deer because violence made her horny and then defiling its carcass. She laments she can't have her way with the carcass the way she wants.
No, I feel sad.
But like, it's so much entertainment. It's like freaking awesome. Like, to watch that shit go down, dude. Like, oh my god.
As you can see, Anna Clausen is an enigma. Her behavior is gross and concerning, and it's impossible to know what is currently going on in her head. As she shows no signs of stopping, there are people very interested in documenting her life and times. There isn't much hope for her besides the one that she just stops. Level 3. Randonautica. Randonautica describes itself as the first ever quantumly generated adventure game. It claims it will take you on a journey of true randomness. It works by giving users random coordinates within their area for them to reach and explore. In 2020, a group of teenagers found a suitcase on the shores of a West Seattle beach. They were using the Randonautica app and filming their exploration. User Ugg Henry posted the TikTok on June 20th, showing one of them going over to investigate the suitcase, finding it stuffed with black bags and being overwhelmed by the stench. The video shows them then calling the police. The following clip shows police and fire trucks surrounding the beach. The gruesome video went viral, quickly garnering more than 30 million views. Seattle police later confirmed the contents inside the suitcase were human remains and said investigators had found several other bags in the area. The remains belonged to 35-year-old Jessica Lewis and 27-year-old Austin Wenner. Both died on June 16th from multiple gunshot wounds. Michael Lee Dudley, an unassuming 66-year-old, was the killer. In late 2019, Jessica Lewis, 35, and her boyfriend Austin Weiner, 27, rented one of Dudley's rooms in Burien. By the following summer, the couple had vanished without a trace. On June 9, 2020, a neighbor said they heard a man's voice pleading for his life as gunshots rang out. When police arrived at the scene, Dudley refused to open the door. The couple had gotten into a spat with the landlord over unpaid rent. They were dismembered and their body parts were squeezed into the suitcase. 10 days after the murder, the remains were found. After the discovery, police obtained a search warrant at Dudley's property where Lewis and Weiner stayed. There, authorities discovered freshly covered bullet holes and traces of blood. Dudley was arrested on suspicion of murder and charged 5 days later. On April 7, 2023, Dudley was found guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder. He will spend the rest of his days behind bars after he was sentenced to 46 years in prison. He is currently incarcerated at Washington State Penitentiary and will not be eligible for parole until the age of 104. Over the years, Randonautica has become a more familiar mobile experience with a cleaner look and essential features you have to pay for individually. It's not quite so creepy and mysterious anymore. Cara Santarelli. She was a high school senior from Molino, Florida. She would tragically lose her life in a car accident just a few days after boasting on her last TikTok about never having been in one. Cara was driving down Highway 29 in Escambia County, Florida, when a Chevrolet sedan came careening the wrong way and smashed into her Nissan SUV. After the impact, the Chevy caught fire. Santarelli died in the wreck, with the other driver, who is yet to be identified, also dying after being trapped in their vehicle. The teen, who had more than 44,000 followers on TikTok, posted an ominous video 6 days before the crash. The video has now been viewed more than 15 million times. In the video, she touts her safety record as she poses inside her vehicle with the caption, "When they try to call me a bad driver, but I've never hit a person or an actual car." Lacey McLaughlin, Cara's mother, the school she attended, and the restaurant where she worked all expressed their feelings over her death. Cara's mother wrote in a series of posts, "I love you, Cara. God blessed me with you." The community held a memorial event for Santarelli last Saturday at Pensacola Beach. Michaela Strofe and Adam Simji. Michaela Strofe and Adam Simji were a couple on a road trip in Alabama. They stopped to help what appeared to be a stranded motorist, but ended up making a fatal mistake. They were driving through Talladega National Forest near Chiaja State Park when they were flagged down by a woman named Yasmin Heater. Heater said her car had broken. Michaela and Adam worked on the car for an hour until they realized it wouldn't start. That's when Heater pulled out a gun on the couple. She demanded they drop their cell phones and hand over their banking information. Simji also pulled out a gun to protect himself and his girlfriend. Heater then began playing with her gun before firing once. Simji also fired multiple times, wounding Heater before he too was struck and killed. Michaela, who was not wounded in the shootout, called 911. Police arrived 30 minutes later. She told authorities there was another woman with Heater. Police eventually found the suspect's camp about a half-mile away where they had been living off the grid. That's where the police officers found the second suspect, Crystal Diane Pinkins, and her young child. Heater was taken to a hospital in Birmingham. Heater and Pinkins were charged with murder, kidnapping, and robbery. Simji had been enrolled at UCF since the last fall as a finance major. Strofe was about to embark on her first semester at UCF, pursuing her master's degree in counselor education. Michaela has a TikTok account with her account of the events, details about their life together, and also how she is able to carry on. Minelis Zoe Rodriguez Ramirez. 25-year-old Minelis Zoe Rodriguez Ramirez was a TikToker who shared workout videos and life stories on the platform. She was reported missing by her family on October 23rd. She was last seen at a Walmart in Cornelia, Georgia. Employees saw her entering the Walmart but lost track of Minelis afterward. Soon after the missing persons report, Cornelia police were able to find Minelis' body on Furniture Drive near the Walmart parking lot. They also arrested Angel de Jesus Rivera Sanchez on a charge of kidnapping in connection with the Minelis disappearance. Angel was later charged with murder. While the case appears open and shut, it's more complex. You may have noticed that many details that would link the two are missing. Minelis went to that Walmart late at night to sell a picture to someone, and we don't know either the content or the identity of the person. It's presumed to be Angel, but it's unclear. Minelis' fiancé Julio Tovor apparently received a message from her saying, "I am waiting for the brother to pick him up," which was strange as she did not speak like that. Angel de Jesus Rivera Sanchez was an illegal immigrant from Mexico and was caught by police, apparently trying to make his way back there. So it could have been him. The truth is, we don't have all the details, not even the cause of Minelis' death. Even after being solved, her case remains a mystery. Minelis Zoe Rodriguez Ramirez leaves behind a 9-year-old daughter who lives with her father in Puerto Rico. She had immigrated from there to the U.S. about 6 years ago. Level 4. Mr. Prada. Terrion Thomas, aka Mr. Prada, is a TikToker with 4.3 million followers and also a murderer. Known for his comedy videos, Terrion was charged with second-degree murder and obstruction of justice in the death of William Abraham, a 69-year-old Louisiana therapist. The crime happened in October of this year. Thomas killed Abraham in a violent altercation in his apartment in Baton Rouge. After that, he wrapped Abraham's body in a tarp, dumped it on the side of the highway near Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana, and fled Louisiana using the victim's car. Baton Rouge police pinpointed Terrion Thomas as the culprit after Abraham was captured on surveillance footage entering Thomas's apartment complex. That happened the day before his body was found. Witness statements reportedly saw Thomas dragging a tarp down the stairs and loading it into Abraham's car. There was also blood and weapons in Thomas's place, confirming there was an altercation there. Thomas was arrested in Dallas on a separate warrant following a traffic stop. He was suspected of driving Abraham's car unauthorized and refused to comply with officers. He was extradited to Louisiana and booked into the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. The lack of evidence of any relationship between Terrion and Abraham make this crime stand out. This has fueled a lot of speculation, but the truth is, we don't know. Clearly, it wasn't a random crime, but Terrion has yet to explain himself. Somewhat ominously, his fans had started to worry about his mental health. and shortly before the crime, he uploaded a video practicing for his mugshot. Rainy Street Serial Killer. Equal parts an ongoing case and urban legend. Austin, Texas, residents suspect a serial killer is active in the city, dumping the bodies of his victims in Lady Bird Lake. While Austin police are quick to dismiss that the deaths are the work of a serial killer, contrary to this, a TikTok showing a lot of police enforcement in the area shows a growing concern about what is happening there. Lady Bird Lake is a 6-mile river-like reservoir on the Colorado River in Austin. The city created the reservoir in 1960 as a cooling pond for a new power plant. Now it's primarily used for recreational purposes. Swimming is not permitted in the lake, as several drownings have happened there. There have been at least 12 bodies found in or near Lady Bird Lake. This reignited rumors of a Rainy Street killer on the loose in Austin, using the area as a dumping ground. On July 14, 2022, Ricky Park's body was the first of 4 bodies to be found at the lake. Christopher Gutierrez was found on December 10th, and Josue Moreno was found on December 19th. A man was later charged with murder involving a shooting/crash that claimed Moreno's life on December 28th. Kyle Thornton's body was found there. On February 13, 2023, the body of Jason John was found near 30 East Avenue. His death was ruled as an accidental drowning. Less than a month later, on March 5th, Clifton Axtell's body was found. His cause of death could not be determined. On April 1st, Jonathan Honey was found near 10 Rainy Street, another drowning. On April 15th, Christopher Hayes Clark was found near the 2700 block of Canterbury Street. On June 27th, Moga DeGale was found near the 100 block of the West Cesar Chavez Street. 4 bodies have been found this year. On February 5th, 2024, a woman's body was found near 300 West Cesar Chavez Street. In early April, an unidentified body was recovered near the Lamar Boulevard Bridge. The last 2 bodies have yet to be added to the list, as police consider the 2 incidents to be isolated incidents. Social media users have developed theories about who the killer is and how these incidents are linked. People have dubbed the suspect the Rainy Street Killer. So, is there a serial killer on the loose, or are these deaths just unfortunate coincidences? Ava Marjorie Stalker. Ava Marjorie from Naples, Florida, has amassed a massive following on TikTok with her lip-syncing and dancing videos. Fame came at a cost, though: her privacy. In early 2020, Ava noticed one fan, Eric Justin 111, trying to get her attention in the comment section of her videos. He messaged her on Snapchat and Instagram, and even appeared in online games she played. Ava responded to him a few times at first, trying to be polite. At some point, Eric Justin 111 proposed buying pictures of Ava, which she sold with her parents' approval. He bought selfies of her, but would later try to acquire more explicit content from the 14-year-old. That's when communications between the two ceased, and Ava's parents had to step in, as the guy would make Venmo transactions to message Ava. After researching Eric Justin 111, the Marjories discovered the fan was Eric Rohan Justin, 18, of Ellicott City, Maryland. At the time, they did not consider him dangerous. That was until July 10, 2022, when he arrived with a shotgun at the Marjorie family home in Naples and blew open the front door. His weapon jammed. Ava's father, a retired police lieutenant, chased him off. He returned to the house, retrieved his handgun, and stood guard at the front door, only to see the gunman return a short time later. Mr. Marjorie said he ordered the teenager to drop the shotgun, and when he instead pointed it at him, he fired. By sunrise, Eric Justin was dead. Eric was carrying 2 cell phones with thousands of photos of Ava and thousands of her videos. Mr. Marjorie said he was advised by the police that under Florida's Stand Your Ground law governing the justifiable use of deadly force, he was not subject to prosecution. Today, Ava Marjorie remains successful on TikTok. Bethany Martin. On July 28, 2021, Bethany Martin uploaded a video to her TikTok talking about how she and her friend found the body of a man who hanged himself. That's not all that happened. 17-year-old Bethany Martin and a 16-year-old female friend were out for a walk when they spotted something awkward by the drainage ditch and went to take a closer look. The Texas teenagers happened upon a man's corpse. According to them, when they found the body, they called a male friend who joined them at the scene before they called the police. What they failed to mention is that they posted a video to Snapchat of themselves stealing a necklace from a dead body they discovered. The day after his body was found, the sheriff's office was made aware of a video circulating online showing the theft. The two have since been arrested. Martin was charged as an adult with felony theft from a human corpse or grave. She's since been released on a $2,000 bail, according to police. The 16-year-old faces the same charges, though she is considered a juvenile and has not been named. When the police asked her why she did it, she simply said the necklace matched her style. The girls admitted to tossing the chain in a nearby grassy area, but the 16-year-old kept the pendant and put it on a gold necklace she had. The necklace was returned to the victim's family, who was identified as 25-year-old Marcus Adams. His death was ruled a suicide by the Bexar County Medical Examiner. Marcus's family set up a successful GoFundMe to assist them with funeral costs. Marcus has been put to rest respectfully. Sleepover torture. 13-year-old Kira Hart from Queensland, Australia, was invited by schoolmates to a sleepover on March 16, 2023. Trusting them as friends, Kira accepted the invitation and walked right into a trap. Upon arrival, she was subjected to physical and verbal abuse for 5 hours. Her friends, Renisha Gretsch, Chloe Denman, and Shania Gretsch, punched, kicked, and stabbed her with a knife. They also filmed the whole ordeal. Kira sustained several injuries, including a broken nose and multiple lacerations. After the attack, the trio showered Kira and threatened her not to tell anyone. Fearful, the victim tried to defend them by saying they saved her life, but her mother wasn't convinced. Kira was unrecognizable after the attack. She was forced to spend a week in the hospital suffering from a stab wound to the knee, a fractured wrist, and severe swelling. The footage was shared on social media. It showed Renisha after the incident, where she confesses what happened and remarks that Kira was funny.
And we're just like for like 4 hours straight. And it was funny as f***. So she's like full f***ed up. Like all of a sudden, photos of her face.
The videos went viral and have been reposted on various TikTok and Instagram accounts. On March 13th, the three girls were charged with assault occasioning bodily harm, deprivation of liberty, entering a dwelling and committing an indictable offense, armed robbery while in the company of using personal violence, entering premises and committing an indictable offense, and willful damage. People were outraged by the girls' actions and were forced to move after this. However, this didn't stop people from vandalizing their abandoned residence, which Renisha responded to. The girls remain active on social media. The Gretsch sisters continue to deny accountability on their Instagram stories, and their parents have made statements of remorse for their daughter's actions. Kira's family set up a GoFundMe to pay for her medical expenses. Since then, Kira has fully recovered and lived a normal life. Mahek Bukhari. In 2022, TikToker Mahek Bukhari became the center of a controversy involving the murders of two men, Sagib Hussain and Hashim Ijazuddin. With 130,000 followers on TikTok, 45,000 on Instagram, and 3,900 subscribers on her YouTube channel, Mahek Bukhari was a popular makeup, lifestyle, and fashion influencer. Her 46-year-old mother, Ansreen Bukhari, regularly appears alongside Mahek in her videos. 3 years previously, Ansreen had begun a secret relationship with Sagib. However, Ansreen had no intention of leaving her husband. By January 2022, she attempted to end the relationship against Hussein's wishes. He became increasingly obsessive and resorted to blackmail. Ansreen turned to her daughter for help. Mehek, in turn, went to her friend, 28-year-old Rakan Karwan, for help. He recruited several other people, hoping to intimidate Sagib into handing over his phone. In February 2022, Sagib Hussein and his friend Hashim Ijazuddin were lured to a meeting with a mother and daughter in Leicester just before midnight. Footage from a Tesco car park showed that Hussein and Ijazuddin never got out of their Skoda Fabia as they gradually became suspicious. Soon afterward, they were seen leaving the car park with a Seat Leon and an Audi TT in quick pursuit. Karwan and another accomplice, Rais Jamal, were behind the wheel. Hussein made a desperate 999 call which ended abruptly with a scream. The crash resulted in Hussein and his friend Ijazuddin being engulfed in a fireball after their vehicle was rammed off the road. Both men had to be identified by their dental records. Bukhari was sentenced to life in prison on the 1st of September after being found guilty of murder at Leicester Crown Court. Her mom was convicted of the same charge. Rakan Karwan and Rais Jamal were also sentenced to life after being found guilty of 2 counts of murder. Other suspects were either found not guilty or convicted of manslaughter. Yan Ruimin. Chinese TikToker Yan Ruimin disappeared during a trip to Bangkok. As authorities searched for her, they discovered she had been murdered on the same day she met her killer. She was also active on Xiaohongshu, a Chinese social media site similar to Instagram, with about 11,000 followers. Yan documented her travels on her account, with her most recent post occurring in May in Macau. A friend reported 38-year-old Yan missing on July 2nd, as she was supposed to arrive in Phuket that day, but never did. Days later, an unknown person contacted Yan's family in China demanding 5 million baht, $150,000 in ransom, and warned the family against contacting the police or the embassy. Thai police later discarded the possibility that she was being held for ransom. After days of searching, on July 13th, a body was found dumped in Chao Chung Sa, outside of Bangkok. A DNA test on Wednesday confirmed that the body found was that of Yan Ruimin. Thai police would find their suspect upon reviewing a CCTV video from July 1st on the streets of Bangkok. The person last seen with Yan was identified as 34-year-old Ma Kinyan, another Chinese national. He had reportedly met Yan in Bangkok and killed her on that same day. Ma was also seen in a deserted area near where the body was found there 11 days later. Evidence suggests Ma attempted to cover his tracks by burning documents and abandoning Yan's belongings near where her body was found. By the time Thai police got to him, Ma had already fled to Macau via Hong Kong. Macau authorities, alerted by mainland Chinese police, arrested him. The case has been transferred to Chinese mainland authorities for further investigation. Ma Kinyan's motivation and what happened to him after his arrest is unclear. Yan Ruimin's murder remains a mystery. Level 5. Rhys Bonner. Rhys Bonner was a 19-year-old from Easterhouse, Glasgow. Bonner went missing in July 2019 after telling his family he was going to watch a football game with a friend. Rhys lived with his mother, Stephanie Bonner, and his 5 younger siblings. Stephanie believed the friend he was going to meet was his girlfriend. His football team, Celtic FC, played that day in an important match, and he said he would watch the game later with his grandfather. He reportedly bought a bottle of cider and went out to meet the girl at McDonald's. Rhys did not return home to watch the football game, and by Friday, July 26th, when there was still no sign of him, the family reported him as a missing person to the police. 2 weeks after he went missing, Bonner's body was found minutes from his home in marshlands between Easterhouse and Gartlock Village on August 8, 2019. The cause of Rhys's death was listed as unascertained and ruled not suspicious. Police found a likelihood that drowning caused or played a role in the tragic incident. It also said there were indications his death may have been drug-related due to evidence of street Valium. Reese's family denies he took drugs, but the prosecutor's fiscal office confirmed various sources had provided this information, including Reese's own admission to his general practitioner and the National Health Service. No cause of death has ever been confirmed. Stephanie Bonner has flagged issues with a missing persons probe, which led to Reese's body being found, lodging 26 complaints with the force. In December 2022, it was reported that in a 66-page report, the PIRC agreed and repeated shortcomings had been made relating to the probe into Reese's disappearance and the treatment of his relatives in the aftermath. Reese was last seen on CCTV at 7:55 p.m. on Wednesday, July 24th. He left a shop and walked along Coinsborough Road in Easterhouse before turning onto Gardine Street. He was accompanied by a woman in her 40s. The woman is well known in the Easterhouse area. Stephanie received information from locals saying the woman in question had previously battered someone with a baseball bat and had apparently held young boys in her house. She was also told that others were involved in her son's death, and they had tried to rob him, which is why his shorts were missing when he was found. Stephanie says that his trainers were found in a tree as if they had been flung up there, and his hat was later found in the same area but smelled strongly of soap powder as if it had been washed. Stephanie believes Reese was killed, but the police say there is no evidence. Zachary Latham. Latham showed himself to be a rebellious and carefree guy. This image led him to gain over 40,000 followers on TikTok, and his videos have more than 3 million views. In 2018, he began recording his trips in his vehicle at full speed, making a lot of noise and disturbing the tranquility of his neighborhood in Vinland, New Jersey. Latham drove his vehicle in such a way as to irritate his neighbors. He did so repeatedly to generate views on his videos, recording the complaints he received and publishing them on TikTok. One of Zachary's neighbors, 51-year-old William Durham, would tire of the situation and confront him. Durham lived with his wife Catherine and their 2 children 4 houses away from Zachary's. The two would begin an open dispute for more than 2 years. The situation reached a boiling point on May 4, 2022, when Catherine Durham decided to confront Latham herself. Zachary pushed her and then left the scene in his vehicle. A few hours later, William Durham and his children approached Zachary Latham's home. The Durhams attacked Latham, and in the struggle, Zachary, who was armed, stabbed William, leaving him seriously injured. Latham's wife recorded the whole incident. They planned to use the material in a new video. William Durham died within hours while the police arrested Zachary Latham. After his trial in 2023, the authorities released him, ruling that he had acted in self-defense. Zachary is already back in jail again for stalking and harassment awaiting trial. His current status is unknown. Frei Todoroki. Brazilian TikToker Frei Todoroki, real name Raissa Nunes Borges, shocked the country in 2021 when she and her friends plotted and carried out a cold-blooded murder. Their victim was another friend, Ariana Barbara Lariano de Oliveira, who they lured to her death under the pretense of going out to have lunch together. Together with her friends Jefferson Calvancanche Rodriguez, Enjo Giacomini Carniero Matos, and a minor, they strangled and stabbed Ariana, dumping her body in the woods afterward. Ariana was reported missing on September 24th, and her body was found on the 30th in the Jau sector in Goiânia. Her body was only found when locals investigated the pungent smell coming from the woods and found her remains. She was identified by her digitals. During the 6 days, the trio even participated in search groups looking for Ariana and reportedly tried to misdirect efforts to find the body. Local police questioned the group, the only real suspects, and they all confessed to committing the murder, sharing details of how they had planned this for a while. Risa believed she was a psychopath and wanted to test herself, which the trio encouraged. They picked Ariana almost randomly. She was a small girl, so they believed she would be easy to subdue and kill. Otherwise, they would have picked someone else. None of them expressed genuine remorse over what they did. According to them, the murder happened when they got close to the spot where they planned to dump the body. They had a signal, too. When one of them snapped his fingers, one of the girls strangled Ariana, and the other stabbed her 3 times. Together, they'll collectively spend 29 years in prison. Ariana's mother is unsatisfied with the sentence and holds on to what she has left of her daughter. Before going out, Ariana sent an audio message to her mother. She sounded cheerful and excited to be with her friends. Claire Miller. Claire Miller was a TikToker who gained national attention in early 2021 after murdering her older sister, Helen Miller. In February 2021, Claire called 911 confessing to the stabbing. When officers arrived, they found her sister, who had cerebral palsy and used a wheelchair, fatally injured. Helen Miller had been stabbed 7 times while she slept. Claire Miller pleaded guilty but mentally ill to the 3rd-degree murder of her sister Helen Miller in the family's Manheim Township home. Claire told the judge that she had depression and an unidentified psychotic disorder for which she was being treated with medication. In a statement after the hearing, District Attorney Heather Adams said prosecutors don't dispute that Miller suffered from a mental health event at the time of this offense, but it legally did not excuse the conduct. The sentence holds her accountable for the crime committed, but balances the nature of this offense, her young age, her mental condition at the time, and the protection of society. The hearing was to determine whether Miller's case should remain in adult court or be transferred to juvenile court. In Pennsylvania, homicide is automatically treated as an adult crime. Still, a minor defendant can petition to have the case moved to juvenile court. Following a hearing last summer, another judge determined Miller had multiple mental health diagnoses, including gender dysphoria and hallucinations. After that hearing, Robert D. Byer, Miller's attorney, said Miller believed she was stabbing a hallucination of a woman, a version of herself that told her she was ugly and a failure. Assistant District Attorney Amy Mueller argued at the hearing that Claire Miller had been growing fixated on violence and homicide. The judge determined Miller should remain in adult court. Who was 14 at the time of the killing, was sentenced to 12.5 to 40 years to be served in prison. Fractal wood burning, aka Lichtenberg burning, is a technique in which a Lichtenberg figure is burnt into wood using high-voltage electricity. It's also dangerous and went viral on TikTok a few years ago. To produce those beautiful patterns, you need 2 electrodes placed on the wood and a high voltage passed across them. The current from the electrodes has to be strong enough to cause the surface of the wood to heat up until it boils. If an electrical current is strong enough to boil wood, you can imagine what it could do to a human body if something were to go wrong. It's safe to say that TikTok creators and users usually aren't good with being responsible, so at least 35 people were electrocuted and killed attempting to make it themselves. At least 33 people have died as a result of fractal burning, according to the American Association of Woodturners, from new hobbyists to experienced woodworkers alike. In May 2020, 35-year-old Wisconsin man Matt Schmidt lost his life while performing the technique for the first time. Another accident took place in Utica, Michigan, in which 2 teenagers and their grandmother were severely injured. 2 people in Marathon County were found dead in their home on April 6 when firefighters responded to a house fire there. A man in Michigan's Upper Peninsula died in July as a result of the practice. A Lycoming County, Pennsylvania man was pronounced dead Tuesday morning after an apparent electrocution accident while using the design technique. So, you and I are probably better off buying them on Etsy. Level 6. Daniel Halseth. Halseth's partially burned body was found on April 9th in the garage of his northwest Las Vegas home near Durango and Alta Drives. The autopsy report detailed the 45-year-old had about 70 sharp force injuries, 42 of which were on the back of his head, neck, and torso. There were also cuts inflicted after his death, including a saw wound found on his right wrist, meaning the killer tried to dismember him. His 16-year-old daughter, Sierra, had been acting strangely lately and avoided helping concerned family and friends speak with her father. As soon as the body was found, she became a prime suspect in killing Daniel. Besides her evasive behavior, several withdrawals from Daniel's bank account had been made in ATMs around Las Vegas. Daniel's car was missing from the garage, and Sierra was nowhere to be found. Her 18-year-old boyfriend, Aaron Guerrero, had also disappeared around the same time. They were found and apprehended in Salt Lake City. The couple had plotted to kill him as part of a scheme to rob their parents and run away. Even more horrifying are the TikToks they filmed 3 days after the event, laughing and showing no remorse for what they did.
Day 3 after somebody.
Halseth and Guerrero faced 9 charges, including first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, arson, credit card fraud, and robbery. They both received 22 years to life in prison. Anthony Barajas and Kylie Goodrick. Famous TikToker Anthony Barajas and his date Riley Goodrick were found shot in a movie theater in Corona, California. Riley was dead, while Anthony was gravely wounded. Theater employees found them late Monday night after a 9:35 p.m. showing of The Forever Purge at the Regal Edwards Corona Crossings. Considered a mystery by Corona police, the crime was first ruled as a murder-suicide. Later, though, evidence would reframe the events as an execution. The main suspect was 20-year-old Joseph Jimenez, who was found at the cinema then. Police had their suspicions confirmed upon finding Kaylee's wallet and some other possessions in his house. He also carried a handgun of the same caliber as the one used in the crime. Joseph Jimenez, 21, was arrested on July 27th and charged with murder, attempted murder, and robbery in a shooting that left a teen dead and a TikTok star on life support. Jimenez, who had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and reportedly stopped taking his medication, opened fire without prior interaction with his victims. When questioned, he mentioned how a voice kept telling him he would save the world if he killed them. Some believe Joseph is merely trying to cut himself an insanity plea deal, and that the stolen wallet shows the young man knew what he was doing. On Friday night, a memorial was held to remember Riley at a nearby church. A candlelit vigil was also held at the movie theater where she died on Saturday. The Goodrick family set up a GoFundMe to help pay for funeral and memorial expenses. At the same time, Anthony Barajas' family also set up an online fundraiser to help pay his medical bills. However, he would later succumb to his injuries. Joseph Jimenez was sentenced to life in prison. Level 7. Austin 13. Austin 13 is an old TikTok account managed by Austin Murawski. Austin amassed a sizable following by posting a variety of shorts, including lip-syncing videos and challenges. While his content was unremarkable, he had 357,000 followers and 10.5 million likes on the app. Austin would become infamous throughout the platform and across social media almost out of nowhere. Rumors about his past began circulating online and spread like wildfire. With no clear place of origin, Austin was being attacked from all sides, being accused of sexually assaulting his sister. Yes, according to the rumors, a 10-year-old Austin Murawski violated his 5-year-old sister. He went to juvenile prison over it, but it couldn't be verified because they don't keep public records. These are grave accusations, and what made it worse was his handling of the situation. Austin was 18 then, so you couldn't expect him to solve a problem like this, but he did try. He released a response that didn't address the allegations directly. He had friends stand next to him while he read a statement and even featured his sister. His response worked to turn even more people against him, but it also appeared that people had made up their minds about him, and he wouldn't be forgiven anyway.
You're a child or
Whatever the truth may be, Austin Murawski has since disappeared from the internet. Chinese corpse farm. In January 2022, Beanbag Adventure, a Chinese Douyin TikTok urban explorer, discovered a supposed abandoned organ harvesting lab. His exploration of the lab was separated into 3 videos which have since been removed and re-uploaded online multiple times. In the video, Beanbag explores a derelict building. Its underground was filled with what Beanbag claimed to be props from a movie. What he shows is disturbing. Dozens of baby-sized bodies floating in a tank of green sludge. He also found many bottles of the sludge and piles of bones lying around. He visited the place again a few months later and found a human fetus in a jar, alongside more bones and clothing. While shocking, the fact that it was a Douyin video meant it would never gain much traction in the West. That was until late February 2023 when fellow YouTuber Nick Crowley posted a video exploring the topic. His video sparked widespread discussion and theories online. Internet users went on to speculate, investigate, and scour Beanbag's videos for every scrap of information they could find. It's kind of crazy how far they went to discover where and what was happening. The building is reportedly Bethune Medical College of Jilin University in Changchun City, Jilin Province. It's theorized that it served as a facility for the illegal or clandestine processing of corpses, either to use them for anatomical models or plastination, the preservation of body parts by replacing water and fat with plastics. The organ harvesting angle falls apart when you see how bad of a job they would have to be doing tossing whole bodies into formaldehyde tanks. But what fueled speculation the most was Beanbag Adventure's behavior. His account was made private for a while and then returned out of nowhere back to his usual urbex content. Still, the videos about the supposed corpse farm were completely gone. It's as if they never happened.